What is going on, guys? My name is Will, but you can call me Tate, and it's been forever since I've sat here and done one of these live comm videos. But really, I've wanted to do this video ever since the announcement of Top Thrill Dragster's closure has come out. And now that we've got Top Thrill 2, I'll be giving my thoughts a little bit on this, but that's not really what this video is about. This video is about me celebrating the history of how one ride changed my entire life. And of course, this is one of those videos where I really hope you guys watch through till the end, because it is very sentimental to me. So I hope that by the end you'll get an understanding of why I am as heartbroken as I am, and how one ride was so special to me. Really one inanimate object. But I'm going to go ahead and get into this. This is going to be a very long video. Thank you guys for 2,000 subscribers, as this video will basically go over the history of the creation of my channel and all the things that have come. I think this goes as a very good 2,000 subscriber special. So yeah, please stay tuned. And yeah, this is a long video, guys, but just bear with me. I promise that by the end of this video, you'll see exactly where I'm coming from. You might not feel the same way. You might think, oh, this is a sob story, but it is not. Just go ahead and listen through. So the footage you guys are seeing in the background is footage that I have caught all the way up to my 4th grade year in elementary school. I am now a college graduate, by the way. So that is how long that I have had an obsession with this ride. And yeah, just so all the footage and all the pictures and everything has happened from my 4th grade year up until now. Of course, I'm going to try to pick out the better shots, but yeah, just really quick wanted to mention that. So I mentioned 4th grade. So what is the start of this whole story with how one ride is so important to me? So 4th grade, I believe, and I'm only saying that because I remember in 5th grade seeing somebody have a picture of Dragster on one of their presentations, and me, already being in love with that ride. So I'm going to assume my first ride was in 4th grade. But 4th grade, I was a normal kid. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. We went to Cedar Point and Kings Island maybe once a year, and something changed 4th grade. My dad pointed to a ride and said, we have to do that. All I can remember is standing by the Christmas tree and hearing it scream, arms down, as a train then whizzed out of my vision. I then got in the queue line and turned around and looked at the tallest ride I have ever seen in my life. Of course, having been on Kings of Con now, but that the tallest ride I had ever seen at the time, and just being completely afraid the entire time. In fact, I don't know how I didn't chicken out. That's how scared I was. But we got on, we came off, and after that ride, my life was completely changed. It was the start of something completely beautiful. So prior to this ride, I know it's really, really early and you're not supposed to know what you want to be when you grow up as a kid. But in 4th grade, I did not know at all what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I remember doing this ride and going home, and I'm sure my family was very annoyed because I would watch Top Thrill Dragster videos all day, all night, searching rollbacks, searching videos of getting stuck, searching King of Ka, just searching all of the technology and everything that came with it. And from that, I gained what I would now call being an enthusiast, an absolute roller coaster enthusiast. That was the start of me loving roller coasters. In fact, I remember I would do Top Thrill Dragster while I was still terrified of coasters that go upside down. I don't know how that worked. Don't ask me. But that was the start of me being an enthusiast, the start of me really breaking down roller coasters, which, that's just what we do as enthusiasts. Seeing how I think about all of them, and, all of the rides I did after, Dragster remained my #1 ride. And through searching all of the engineering of the ride, I realized that I wanted to be an engineer. And, from 4th grade, I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I am now a college graduate with an engineering degree. So that is the first part as to how this ride has completely changed my life. And the second part, I'm going to go into how the ride is basically a personality trait for me. So I know it's weird. How is a roller coaster personality trait? How is an inanimate object a personality trait? For those of you who may have been a part of my channel for a long time, you will know that my original name was Top Thrill Dragsterman. In fact, I loved this ride so much more than others that I embraced that. And that was my YouTube channel name. That was what I lived for. And I just remember always, anytime anybody in the class would talk about roller coasters, I would bring it up. That's just how we all are as enthusiasts. But this ride was my everything. I knew everything about it. I went every year when I would go to Cedar Point. I would be terrified because I would be like, this is the ride that I've been thinking of 24/7 all off season. And when I stand in front of it and see how massive it is, that ride looks way bigger in real life than it does on my lock screen. And the realization would just hit me. And I was like, really? this is the coaster you're obsessed with. And it made me even feel a little bit crazy, but yes, this is the ride that was always on my mind and that I was always researching, and that just was my favorite ride by far. And I feel like us as enthusiasts, we always have one ride that does that for us. But for me, Top Thrill Dragster was this ride. I remember everybody would always complain about the length, and I would say, but it's the best 17 seconds of your life. I wouldn't let anybody complain about it because this was my number one. In fact, until Steel Vengeance came out, this ride was by far my number one ride. And I rode it every single time I went to Cedar Point from 4th grade on. So, of course, we'll talk about maybe reliability later, but I never had a single trip where I did not ride the ride at least once. And this ride just really became my personality. It was on my lock screen, both lock screens. Of course, you're on iPhone, you have the home and your lock screen. And this will just become my YouTube channel, Top Thrill Dragsterman. That was me. And while I did go to Kings Island and Cedar Point at the start, this ride was my entire identity. This is the ride that I loved. Even now, the alternate is what my channel is named now, the alternate YT. The reason I named it that is because I have embraced my entire life. I've embraced being different. And the reason that I'm different in this coaster community is because Dragster was my favorite ride, hands down. And it's very hard to convince some people who aren't from Ohio. I won't say aren't from Ohio, but just have struggled to ride it, and may have only gotten a couple rides, who just complain about the long wait for the short ride time. It's always been hard to convince that, and that includes my best friend, which we'll talk about later. But it's always been hard to convince people that ride is as good as it is to me. And to this day, I still feel like that launch, there's no way to describe that feeling, especially in the front. I mean, you're just sitting there, and then you feel like something's pulling you into a black hole. And that ride, that part of the ride is what's always done it for me, is that launch. I always told my friend, I don't care if there was an overbank turn after that launch. That launch is so powerful, and to this day is my favorite coaster element. And having been on all 4 hydraulic launch coasters, Accelerator does have a better punch at the beginning, but Dragster's launch is just something else with how it has that consistent acceleration and just literally, like I said, feels like it is pulling you into a black hole. But that launch, I had to figure out how it worked, and I did tons of research. And like I said, it made me an engineer. But what it also did is it made me start this YouTube channel, start Top Thrill Dragsterman, and then become the alternate, which is me embracing that I have different opinions. Because back in the day, I was the first person to say that Diamondback had a rattle. People did not like that. And yeah, I caught a lot of crap for some of the things I said and having this ride as my number one, but I always embraced that. And like I said, until Steel Vengeance, Dragster was my number one. And now that it's being closed, I'm sure it will be forever my favorite one. Maybe not my number one based off of ride layout, but in terms of being my favorite ride, I think we all have lists of rides that are our favorite versus our top 10, of course. So it did help me realize I wanted to be an engineer, but something else that it also did was, like I mentioned, was start this channel. But what's really amazing is that this channel has also changed my life. I started, as you'll see, making Connects models, and it really that's where my enthusiast also started as well. I loved building Connects rides. I got into coaster dynamics at some point. But building Connects rides, I then began to realize that I could build models. And I would say that I've built Dragster models, probably at least 5 of them, on my YouTube channel. And they're still there to this day. They are very cringy and very low quality because of how old the videos are. But that is where my enthusiast start began. And I would build these Dragster models. I would upload them to YouTube. And that's also where the channel started. If you scroll all the way down to my very first video, you'll find a Connects video of a custom ride that I built. And just to think how far I've come from then is amazing. So we started the channel. I can't even remember. I think 2012 is the year, technically, and started with the Connects rides. And then I started doing vlogs, No Limits, which don't go watch my old No Limits videos. They are not very good. But we started doing vlogs from parks, and then I really got into traveling. I remember my first ever trip I took was after sophomore year of high school, because I was made the honor roll. My mom said we could go to Six Flags Great Adventure, and that is really where my travel and love for roller coasters started. I got to do King Dakar, of course, El Toro, and I actually have not been back to that park since. I really should get back there because I forget how amazing those rides are just because it's been that long. But that was my first ever coaster trip, and really, I didn't even vlog when I was there. That's how early into the channel that was. And from then, I just started traveling. Whenever we would do vacations, I would make time. I would make my mom take us to whatever amusement park was closest. and that really again enhanced my roller coaster enthusiastness, I guess, for lack of a better words. All started by one ride and one entry into what we all call being a roller coaster enthusiast. So traveling around, I've loved trying rides, and you just been East Coast, West Coast, North, South, everywhere. I don't want to say everywhere, but I have been to a lot of parks. If you search my channel, you'll see how many of them. And now to have a traveling job where I visit parks just based off of where I'm traveling is just full circle. But I've also had so many amazing experiences with fans and viewers of the channel. I've met some of you guys, and I remember getting a comment that somebody said that I inspired them to be an engineer. And to go from Dragster inspiring me to making this channel inspiring other people, that was really a full circle moment, and I think just points to how much that one ride has changed my life and how amazing and how many experiences have come from this channel and from being a roller coaster enthusiast. Of course, Kings Island is my home park. That is where I see most of the people. But when I traveled to California for my first time and had a fan there who was able to show me around the park, and then even when I traveled to Carowinds recently and there was another fan who recognized me, I mean, just the amount of memories I have riding roller coasters and from this channel just will forever fill me with happiness. And that all started with one ride. And it's really amazing to me, especially sitting here hitting 2,000 subscribers, having had videos where I read every single comment I get. That's why I say that on every video. And this channel is really something that through college and through starting jobs, I may have gotten slower on uploads, but it's never something I want to let die, because this is truly just beautiful, all the opportunities I've had. And whenever I am able to make videos, I will do that for you guys, because the interaction with this community and the amount of people I've met, and just going to Kings Island and seeing people over and over again, having great friends, having people who work the rides as friends, it is just an amazing feeling. And I'm sitting here, I'm recording, I've got Sony Vegas open on one screen, but on my other screen I've got a screensaver that changes every single minute, and it's just been amazing to grow that folder of pictures to so many different parks, and so many pictures will come with them, and I'll remember that exact day. So I talked about meeting you guys and how this channel has really meant a lot for me, but one thing that I want to say that this ride also did for me is help me find my best friend. So this is a crazy story. So as Dragster made me become a roller coaster enthusiast, I of course had it on my screensaver, and the story of how I met my best friend is absolutely crazy, so I'm going to tell you right now. We were sitting in a theater and he worked stage crew. I sat next to his father and he saw the picture of Dragster on my phone, and he said, "Hey, my son loves roller coasters too." And he told me that he was working on stage crew, and I'll never forget it. During intermission of the show, I ran up to the stage, ran past to see where he was, and I instantly asked him his top 5. You guys have seen him in videos. He has also made some amazing No Limits 2 rides that have been featured on the channel. But that is my best friend, Tyler. He is, to this day, the best person I've ever met, the most moral person I've ever met, and is just really my favorite person on the earth outside of family. With him, I've had so many great memories doing Steel Vengeance for his first time. We even went and rode Mean Streak. As you see, the picture at the end of the outro in every single one of my videos is us saluting to Mean Streak. So I met him through Dragster making me an enthusiast, and it's really just a heaven-sent story of sitting next to his father and then going up and meeting him. And since then, we've traveled. He's also an enthusiast. We've traveled to Cedar Point and Kings Island, and just were roommates in college, went to the same college, and he has just always been the closest person to me, the person that if I ever need to call for anything, he will answer. And just really, I'm really happy to have such an amazing best friend. If I meet nobody else in this life, I am happy to have him. He is really an angel to me. But enough about him. Like I said, we've made great memories, went to the same high school, then went to the same college. So I just wanted to put out there that other than being an enthusiast, having this channel, and making me an engineer, this ride helped me find my best friend. In fact, one of the best memories of Dragster is when me and him went and we saw it roll back basically all day. I think it was the year after Steel Vengeance opened. We had a great trip. It was early in the season, and it just felt like Dragster could never get warmed up enough to not roll back every other launch, and it was amazing. Unfortunately, we did not get a roll back, but we got to see tons of them, and he had never seen them before. but just so many memories from this ride. And just every time I was at Cedar Point, no matter where I was in the park, I was staring at Dragster. I loved, everybody says this, some people say it has great theming, some people say it doesn't, but to me it fit perfectly. And having those lights on the hill, every time I would see them turn green, I would just think somebody's life is being changed, especially those people in the front row. But no matter where in the park, Maverick's line, Magnum's line, which is right next to Dragster, Gatekeeper's line, my eyes were always on Top Thrill Dragster because I loved the ride that much and it was that interesting to me. It was really a ride that I could sit and watch run all day, every day. Just the amount of moving pieces and just learning how it worked just absolutely fascinated me. I also got to meet on one lucky day a worker who had a bolt from Dragster. I don't know her username. I've been trying to find it, but she loves Dragster just as much as me. And she was a huge fan of my channel, so that was also really cool to see a park employee be such a huge fan and have a piece of Dragster. I'll never forget that. But I remember seeing her riding it early in the morning throughout the entire year, or throughout the entirety after I met her. Every time I would go to ride, she would be there if she was not working. And yeah, just amazing people that I met like that. I remember talking to a worker about, what was going on with the ride and why it was down for a win, and he just gave me so many tips and so much insider info that working on the ride would give a worker. So I know this is dragging on. It's been 60 minutes of you learning why this ride means so much to me. I just want to say that as soon as the ride's closure was announced, I was absolutely devastated. In fact, I don't think I've mourned this yet. And just as it means so much, I know it's crazy to think that a ride closing would make me feel in such a way, but I've hoped what I've shown you in this video, you see why it meant so much to me. And I have not been to Cedar Point since it's been announced that it's closing, just because I don't know how I'll react to seeing it closed for the first time. I'll never forget just walking by the ride, hearing that loud train noise. If you've been, just the noise of it zooming up the top hat and coming back down, and then the engine noise. I mentioned the theming. Every time it hit green and it just made that engine noise, that would just make my heart drop, especially if I hadn't ridden it to the day, because it was truly a ride that every year I went, I was scared of. It's a ride I was always scared of, but a ride that I knew was always my favorite ride and just meant so much to me. And just seeing it anywhere in the park, waiting, and just from every angle, you see how much footage I have of one ride, just has the most amazing memories, and it is truly the craziest ride ever. Having been on King of the Ka, I definitely prefer Dragster, and like I said, all four accelerator. Well, I guess not Matugani at Lost Island yet, but having been on the four before that one, I mean, the ride is just insane. It is so tall. It has lap bars. I love the trains. I love the theme. I love hearing Arms Down. You hear that in every single one of my YouTube intros. My friend who was making that, I asked him to add that in just because I was like, that is such a big part of me. And of course, you hear the engine noise in my intro as well. And just filming the ride, watching the ride meant so much to me. And when it was announced that it was closing, and this is not to say that I don't care about the incident that happened. It is truly horrific, and I really hope that everybody involved is okay, and I understand why the park is doing what it's doing. But from a maintenance perspective, yes, a lot of people had issues with it being closed, but I guess I was just persistent because it was my favorite ride. I would wait around, and I never had a trip where I wasn't able to ride it. And now that we've got Zamperla coming in here, a manufacturer who cannot even get the Wild Mouse at Cedar Point to be open, I really hope that this gamble pays off and keeps it open, because yes, the height is still there, but going back to what I said, that launch is why I love the ride so much. I don't care about the top. They could tear the top hat down and put an overbank turn. That launch is the reason that I was so invested in this ride. In fact, I really remember never even thinking about the height because I was so amazed by the launch going up and over the top hat. It wasn't until I remember looking down that I was like, wow. And I'll never forget. Just, it is such a punch to the face, sitting still and then going 120 miles per hour and zooming up the hill. There's truly nothing like it. And to know that now we're going to start into a launch that's 70 miles per hour, almost half as slow, and the same length as track, and the same length of track is just not very inspiring to me, and I really don't look forward to it. Of course, I'm going to give the ride all the benefits of the doubt because it is still standing, and I love that they kept Top Thrill too. I love that they kept that in the name, and I love how they kept some of the original colors. But just for me, somebody who loved the original so much and somebody who loved the launch so much, I hope you see through this video how it has been just so devastating to me. And I've been, like I said, I don't think until I go there and see it, it'll really hit me. But this is just a story of how one ride completely changed my life, allowed me to have a YouTube channel where we just reached 2,000 subs. And I want to say thank you to each and every one of you guys who have subbed, who have been a part of this journey for me, and just have had so many memories, so many travels, especially now that I'm traveling for work. You guys have seen that I interned with this company. I got to go to some amazing parks like California's Great America, the American Dream Mall multiple times. I was actually staying across from Six Flags Great America, but I didn't have the time to go a couple weeks ago. I did go ride Zip and Pippin and drive to Wisconsin, though. But just really what started this hobby for me, what started the amazing interactions I've had with you, and just what's helped me find my best friend and helped me find the purpose for my life, which was engineering. And, you know, going to college in Cincinnati, being 30 minutes from Kings Island, and going there just about every weekend. As you guys have seen, that park is, as much as I love Cedar Point, Kings Island is definitely my home park, and I've been there probably a lot more than Cedar Point at this point in time. But just the amount of experiences I've had have all been brought to me by one ride that I rode in 4th grade with my dad, and just absolutely changed my life. Now, a lot of people are talking about the Spike, and while I think the Spike is cool, I've heard some great things about Pantheon's Spike. I don't think the triple launch system, especially because they're saying you get a rollback and you don't even really go halfway up the hill, but I don't think that experience of the triple launch will ever replace sitting there, hearing keep arms down, head back, and hold on, and just your chest beating out, your heart beating out of your chest while you wait for that launch to start. I mean, there's truly nothing like it. There's nothing like seeing that first yellow and just the thoughts that race through your head, and then seeing the green and just getting thrown back into your seat and getting the most powerful launch. I mean, it's, having done Max Force, Dragster's launch was a lot better, and just I don't know. I look forward to the fact that it is still open, but I loved that launch, and that it's really been sad to me to see that is gone. But this video is going on long enough. And I hope you guys understand through this video what this ride has meant to me and what this channel has meant to me through gaining 2,000 subscribers and having videos with way more views than I ever thought possible. And I just hope you guys know that if I haven't uploaded for a while, this channel is never something that I want to stop, especially traveling and, you know, getting to go to different parks and the amazing experiences I've had. So with that, my name is Will, but you guys can call me Tate. I'm sorry for this long sob story of a video, but really what I wanted it to be is a celebration of all the experiences that Top Thrill Dragster has brought to me and my reactions to Top Thrill 2. So I hope you understand all the memories that I've had, all the people that I've met, and just how one ride really changed my life and my views of engineering and, you know, just becoming an enthusiast in general. But I read every single comment I get. I will continue to do this channel as much as I can, and I hope you guys have an amazing day.
Can you catch me?